This is Hilton Samuel of God Once You're Married, and I want to address a question that was sent to me via email. This person asked me, can you define what it means to have chemistry on both sides, meaning both people? Can you break this down so you understand what true chemistry is? So, what is chemistry? Well, chemistry is really an exciting, pleasurable feeling, romantic feeling that is, that one gets when he or she thinks of, sees, or speak to, or even hear the voice of someone else. There are different names or synonyms that I use for chemistry. Some people would say that, I have the hots for that person, or there is a spark, a connection. Obviously, the similar word chemistry, or there's fireworks, the feeling that you feel that you've never felt before, or I have the it's for that person, or this person gets me. Um, they think of the same thing that you're thinking about at the same time. They intuitively know what you want and provide it. So if you're thinking that you would really like some Indian chicken curry, somehow or the other, they magically or miraculously know that this is what you want at that instant and they bring it to you. Or sometimes they can finish the sentence when you are in midway about speaking, that person has some synchronicity, some connection with you. Well, I want to say that chemistry, you can have an instantaneous chemistry for someone that you've just met, or it can actually develop over a period of time of interacting with someone. Now, let's look at how chemistry is developed. And I'm not saying or suggesting that I have it all down pat, but this is how a lot of people think chemistry develop. It develops through looks. Beauty, they say, is in the eyes of the beholder, but we now know that it is not simply only in the eye of the beholder. There are certain specific things that causes us to label a person beautiful. But if a person is beautiful, then or handsome, if they're ripped, if they have a Coca-Cola shaped body, and if they have nice smooth skin and shiny hair, whether it's straight or afro or whatever type of hair, if they have symmetrical face, then we are attracted to them, and sometimes just the look of this person can create chemistry in yourself, or if you have that kind of look, can create chemistry in someone else. If someone who's intellectual, who's brainy, that too can create a spark, a connection, some chemistry with other people. There is what is known as emotional connection. They make you feel a certain way, and when you're with them, you have a sense of elation, of excitement, and this again binds you. There is a term that is used called limbic resonance, where you begin to feel that you know this person from eternity past. You know this person for a million years. You feel like you're one with them. And this can also be initiated or catalyzed by speaking with someone and sharing deep, private, personal information. Many people have fallen in love with their therapist. It's a phenomenon that is known in in that area of giving people counseling. You can also develop chemistry with people who share similar values and interests to you. If they share similar spiritual values, and you get to know about this, if they are similar not only in faith but in beliefs and hobbies and goals and different persuasion, and if they are equally committed to the cause that you are in, you could develop a bond, a connection. You can get the hots for this person. It doesn't always start that way, but sometimes this is this is one of the ingredients, or these are some of the ingredients that kindle, catalyze, and initiate chemistry. Humor is another factor that also binds and bonds and causes attraction and chemistry in people. Many women actually say that they like, one of the things that they love and attract them to men is the sense of humor, someone who could make them laugh and relax and feel good about themselves. Now, this is, I don't subscribe to this, but researchers have found that drugs such as alcohol could also create chemistry. So many people, when they want to bond with someone or even have a sexual encounter with them, actually ply them and feed them with alcohol. Right. Now, although I've touched on how it can be created, let's look a little bit more detail of how it plays out, how it's executed. It can be executed through your senses, through your sense of smell. Believe it or not, human beings and animals too can be attracted by the scent. I think the chemicals in the scent of this called pheromones. Yes, pheromones, and you can buy it. You can literally buy it from the internet. Some people spray pheromones on themselves. That causes attraction. The sight, I said, simply sitting down and gazing into the eyes of someone can create a sense of bonding and connection and chemistry. If you look at young lovers, they spend a lot of time sitting across from each other, just gazing and peering and looking into each other's eyes. The way a person walks, many men are attracted to the way women move their hips in a rhythmic fashion as they walk. The way a person looks, we have looked at that before. The sound of the voice, soft, smooth voices. I don't know if you know of a guy called Barry White. I think he is passed by now, but he had this deep, rich voice. He sings a lot of love songs, and lots of women just simply like the sound of his voice. I alluded to the physical before, just the sight of the person, but touching, connecting with someone through touch. And that is why you have to be very careful about being too tactile with people, because it can stimulate chemistry, both either in you or in the person that you're touching, or in both of you. And different actions, if the person is kind to you, if the person is consoling, if a person does something for you that no one else does, can initiate and catalyze chemistry. You begin to think of this person differently. This person is a wonderful person. The more you think about the person, the more you begin to be attracted, and the more chemistry develops. And mystery, there are some people who are just mysterious, and the sense of mystery causes not only curiosity in you, it builds us a certain type of attraction, and that too can initiate chemistry. Now let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of chemistry. Now, the advantage obviously is that it gives you a feel-good factor. It brings out the best in you. Well, obviously you think that not only think you feel good, your esteem is boosted, and you just want to bathe and bask in the presence of this person 24/7. Now, the disadvantages is that it behaves like a drug. And even make you behave as if you are on drugs. You start doing things that you would not ordinarily do when you are in your right mind. It interferes with cognition, with your intelligence, and it suppresses that part of you. When you're in love and you have chemistry, you tend not to see the negative parts of the person. In fact, you tend to over exaggerate the positive part of that person. And if someone points out any negative attribute, you tend to ignore that. There is a tendency to ignore. And that in itself is a big problem. Sometimes when we have chemistry, in teenage years, it's called a crush. You have a crush on your teacher, you have a crush on someone else. When you become a young adult or youthful person, some people use the term infatuation. And in adulthood, the social scientists, use a term called limerence. Limerence is you become enamored by this person to the extent that you do things that is not morally right. I think of a case where a teacher ran away to France with his teenage student, both claiming that they are madly in love with each other. And, to make matters worse, that teacher was married. So we need to be very careful with these powerful feelings of attraction and chemistry that we have or we sometimes get for other people. Now, what should you do, or what can you do if you are in a state of limerence, if you are infatuated, if you have a crush, or if you have this hots for someone? Obviously, you need to feel with your heart, but act with your head. I'll say that again. Feel with your heart, but act with your head. Don't let your heart run away with your head. And give it time. Give it time. Make sure that, these feelings will soon pass. They go through stages and waves and seasons. So these feelings will soon pass. And get objective feedback. If you're madly in love, ask your friends and your family to give you objective feedback. Talk to spiritually mature people in the church, and always double check the information that the person is feeding you. I always say that a person shouldn't be the only source of information about himself or herself. So, whatever they tell you, make sure that you can confirm it with someone else, maybe their friends or family or someone who know them. And that's all I would like to say about chemistry. I hope this helps. If you have any further question, let me know. And remember, God wants you married, but he wants you to be intelligently married and not be swayed simply by chemistry. Chemistry is important and it's good to have, but feel with your heart, but act with your head. If you want more information, please visit GodWantsYouMarried.com. Talk soon.